Okay, I think I didn't do my mouth exercises before we got started. Get started. What are you doing? Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, friends, whatever time it might be in your part of the world.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
It's so good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today is May 10th, 2024. We're going to write a little bit of code today. How you doing there, chat room? It's been 6 days in a row live streaming. You feeling good? You hanging in there? You all right? Things going well? Let me say hello. There's the chat room right there. We're broadcasting live on YouTube and Twitch, raising money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. I've got my pin on just a little bit high. There we go. So good to see you, friends. Let me, see, now it's kind of flopping. And spun around. There we go. How you doing there, friends? Let me say hello. My goodness. We got folks here bright and early. Look at that. C Sharp Titan, good to see you. Yeah, we're doing well today. Mario's here on YouTube. Greetings to you in Deutschland. Welcome, welcome. Chris Jones with the resub, 62 months with us. And I'll make another donation at the end of the month into our St. Jude fundraiser. Thank you so much for that support. How you doing there? Don Stefan jumping in. Hello, hello. So, a lot of questions coming out of yesterday. Folks asking questions on Discord, folks asking questions on Twitter. It was so confusing what happened yesterday on stream. Let me recap briefly and then tell you what happened after stream. So yesterday we set forth we were going to publish and get Aspirify.net updated, running with the latest bits of AZD, the latest version of that tool, the latest .NET Aspire preview version. And we went through and we made some tweaks and moved around some of the configuration. And it didn't work. We kept getting these weird permission errors coming out of the web service that was running on Azure. We had no idea what it was. Fortunately, our friend and .NET team member, Brady Gaster, jumped into chat and said, hey, let me take a look at this. Can you show me this? Can you show me that? And we started debugging and going through things, and nothing really stuck out to him. At the same time, David Fowler, the .NET lead architect, is taking a look at it and saying, let me take a look at this, that, and the other with you, and even jumped into voice chat with us, and we working through things. He's like, that's really weird. I've never seen this. And they both had to go, and they said, we're going to take some samples of the source code and the errors here. Let's go take a look at this offline. So they did, and David showed us a way that we can inject and even influence the development, the bicep code that's created, the script that .NET Aspire can be used to generate with the AZD tool, right? .NET Aspire stops at generating a manifest in standard JSON format. Another deployment tool that anybody can write can pick up that JSON and decide where and how to deploy it. And we've seen tools like AZD for deploying to Azure. Of course, Microsoft is building their own tool to get this running first. But Aspirate is out there to deploy to Kubernetes. And there's also a tool from our friends at AWS so that you can deploy and use their cloud as well. So lots of options there after it gets deployed, and AZD generates bicep. So showed us a way inside of our code, because you're using an Azure service, to influence the bicep code that would be generated for Azure. Kind of neat. All right, that's a neat little feature. Saved it and kind of tucked that away as, you know what, maybe we use this in the future when we want to customize how our application is deployed. I wrapped up stream and off we went, and after I committed, pushed stuff into GitHub, I said, you know what? Just for giggles, let's deploy one more time. Because why not? It's already broken. Let me deploy and see that it activates the appropriate storage version out there on the application. And sure enough, right, I'm nearly positive I saw it light up out there properly. Yep, storage account. And where is it? There is a thing that shows its scale, how it's set. I don't see it. Redundancy, there it is. And there it is, LRS. Yes, that's where it was. So it shows me that it did go from globally redundant storage to local redundant storage, which means basically there's a couple extra copies in the same data center instead of scattered across other data centers. That's fine. And I felt good about that. Hey, that was neat. We learned something new from our friend David. And I went over and refreshed the website. Would you believe it frickin' worked? We don't know why. But literally a half hour after stream ended, I redeployed and it just started working. Biddy B Dev, thank you so much for the follow. I cannot explain it. They haven't been able to explain it. We looked at it. Nothing else changed in the activity logs. Nothing in my configuration changed except for specifying local redundant storage, LRS, instead of globally redundant storage, GRS. That was the only thing that changed, and it suddenly worked. I don't know. So I want to pick up where we left off. I had a little bit of a checklist of the things that I wanted to go through. I made I uploaded, I copied the data from the current storage server. The thumbnails that I had, the articles that I had, and copied them into the new storage service. I need to do a little bit more reconfiguration with the search service, which I put that in my list here. Let's see. No, I didn't. Let me put that on the checklist here. Reconfigure search indexer. Yeah. So we're going to take a look at this, and I think we're going to get through this today because it's deploying properly. So, failing memory or disk at the time of deployment it doesn't feel like it, Polka Pips. Doesn't feel like that was what was going on. Because if there was something failing on disk, it would have automatically placed it on another disk. We were getting permission errors. Don't know. Mario says, remember me, press F5 a few times. No success. On the 11th time, it works. Nothing changed. This is why do we love this about our jobs? This is what happens with our jobs as developers. Doesn't work. Holy crow, it works now. I don't know what I did. I didn't wave a magic wand or anything. It's just suddenly working. So that's where we're going to pick up. That's where we're going to jump in and get this thing running. It is so totally agree. It's just esoteric. Like, I don't know why it worked. It just did. Feels weird. So no, don't tell customers, don't tell the boss. Yeah, I used the left-handed code shifter and moved things over here, and I had to break out the skyhook and apply the thing, and it turns out there was a wumpus running around. We got rid of that, and yeah, this time when we deployed, everything was clean and it worked. What? What? Okay, sure. So, the audit logs show everything's clean. Nothing changed in our part of the configuration. I have a sneaky suspicion that something further up the back plane of Azure services, something continuous deployment hit updated, and that's what let it continue running. Let me get some music playing in the background today. I'm going to go with the synthwave playlist. I'm going to scroll down a bit here. This is perfect for us to get started. This is called Caffeine Dream. Let me pump up the volume level there. This is music that's DMCA free, royalty free. Listen to it wherever you'd like. Big thanks to Harris Heller and his team of creatives for putting this music together we're listening to today. How's it going there, Thin Doll? C Sharp Titan says, I've had cases where a piece of code stopped working, no idea why, but it eventually worked. That's the most frustrating thing for us as developers. And the only thing we can do when our code doesn't change is talk to our operations folks and say, what changed on the hardware, on the operating system, on the hosting platform? And if they say, nothing changed on mine, is it sunspots? Is it, I don't know what it is. Something changed somewhere because it was broken and now it works. And it should have worked right the first time. So I don't know. Mario on YouTube says a year ago, Mario's boss said, update the systems. Yeah, it needs maybe a week after all. Set up APT update APT upgrade -Y. Got a lovely weekend or so in the woods. Nice. How you doing there, JS Maniac? Hello. How are you? Leap year will do that for you. Well, yeah. Yeah. I worked through Y2K. You don't need to tell me about the year 2000 problem and that kind of thing. Like, yeah. Yeah. So, shoot. Put the stuff back up on my other screen there. There we go. We're going to pull you down here. There we go. And we're going to dump that in there. Cool. All right. And a huge thanks. Look, I want to make sure that something isn't lost here. Another one of the .NET teammates, Becky Buckler, dropped into chat yesterday a little bit. And if you have experiences, if you have, if there's things that you're using .NET Aspire for, she's on the team and is collecting stories, collecting feedback from folks who are using .NET Aspire. She wants to hear from you. So let us know, and let me know. Drop me a message, and we'll talk more about it. I'll get you connected with the team because they want to hear your feedback. They want to go through and get some planning and prioritization in place for what happens after the release. Sage with a mention here. C Sharp Josh, first off, thank you for the sub. Bringing that Prime sub 53 months. Thank you so much. And I'll make a donation to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital later this month. We're at $1,140 here on the tote board. You can make donations to get a big thank you on my blog. You can see the page on my blog now where all the folks who've made donations more than $5, you get a big thank you out there. I will link to whatever website you would like. You can make other donations to challenge me to a game of Connect 4. You can make donations leading up to at $1,250. We're going to color this beard rainbow for a stream. At $1,500, when we reach a $1,500 milestone, Richard Campbell will be joining us on a stream. Carl Franklin's joining us next week on stream to talk about Blazor, answer your questions, talk about music, talk about tech. If you've listened to .NET Rocks, I've got each of the hosts lined up to join us, but only if we reach that second milestone, $1,500 here for St. Jude. When we reach 2,000, I'm going to share a video. I'm going to record and produce a video. I'm not sure I can live stream from there. The signal isn't great. But there have been questions about folks who love animals. Hey, we'd love to know more about the Fritz horses. You joke about the horses a lot. That's why the JavaScript command is the horses neighing. I will share we'll see how long it is. I was hoping to get more than a half an hour to an hour, meet the Fritz horses. I'll share with you now, if we get to $2,500 here, Scott Hanselman has agreed to join us on stream, build a little code together, answer your questions, Have a good time. You know I do these streams AMA style. We're going to set up with an idea of what we want to do. But we're going to talk and answer questions and have fun with you on stream. Your chance to talk. He's a vice president at Microsoft, and we're going to give you this access when we get to $2,500 for St. Jude. All right? And there are more planned as we get closer to our more interesting topics planned as we get closer to our goal. Not just Scott, but Scott. Or maybe you know him as
Hey, Scott!
Yeah, that one.
Hey, Scott!
Yes.
Hey, Scott!
Yes.
Hey, Scott!
If we have him on stream, I expect to see this Scott command filling up chat as we welcome him in. But only if we get there. So, let me back up and catch up with some of the other questions. Sage had a comment here. I know I had an issue in the field to find .NET Framework was updated, though. Windows updated for a minor version, which broke things. A weird bug with string conversion where you get the type instead of value sometimes, depending on net 4.6.1 and 4.8. Yeah, that was a bug that was fixed for 4.8. I believe that's, if I'm remembering what you're referring to. Yeah. That type of upgrading framework is absolutely one of those things that was frustrating about the old .NET framework. That's why now with .NET Core, .NET 8, soon to be .NET 9, you have the option to package and ship just the things with the framework that you need, and it will only use those features that are in your folder. It won't go out searching for another framework on disk. Very cool stuff. Have I ever had to deal... Tony's here. Hey, Tony Sama, welcome. Appreciate the chat jumping in. Have I ever had to deal with enormous spaghetti code and API in 150,000 line file? Tony, have I got a story for you? Yes. I can share details of this because it's been 15 years since the application, and the application is long since gone. I used to work for a pharmaceutical company. I worked for a subsidiary of Merck Pharmaceuticals 15 years ago now. And they wanted us to have a simple web application to receive the results of clinical trials that were being submitted and sent in from clinics all over the United States. Easy idea. These various clinics would log into the website and just submit, here's the results of these things, here's a document, save it into the database so it can be delivered later. No explicit patient information, but information about, on the aggregate, here's what we found, and send this stuff along. And because the individual patient information was kept and delivered using other systems. This was the aggregate reporting they were trying to do. So we wrote that. I came in at the point that I was hired. The application was deemed a failure. And there were several of these old school classic ASP files in the application that had tens of thousands of lines of code because of the way they had wrapped up the business logic and repeated the business logic from file to file to file. These people didn't understand and use, at the time we used server-side includes. They didn't write business objects in, at the time, Visual Basic was the technology we used because this was before .NET had hit. This was 2004. So .NET had just released and the company wasn't using it. So we were using VB6. And they were struggling. They were having a hard time here because business logic didn't match, things didn't work. So we refactored because it was 150,000 lines, not in one file, but spread out over 4 or 5 files that were doing the data collection. And it was awful. I'm with you, Tony. It's awful. So we've refactored a bit, introduced unit tests so that we could verify that the business logic that was in our Visual Basic component that we were using to reuse that had all the business logic was intelligent and working. And man, it took us a good month and a half to kind of unwind, understand all the business logic, get it corrected, roll it back out, and start collecting data. I think I can share at this point because we're a good 15, 20 years removed. The data that was collected as part of that, I believe, led to the decision for Merck to withdraw Vioxx from the market. Ooh. So Tony, yeah, not only was I dealing with this enormous set of files, but here I'm collecting the data. They had other ways of collecting the data from the clinics, and they were doing it by hand. But I was in the process of automating a process that literally saved lives. So talk about the stress. Ooh. The contact in Discord, Discord ccfritz.com. Open that in a browser with actually, we can do a Discord command, and it'll put the link there in chat. How you doing there? Gutierrez, Dev, good morning. Hello. Beer Up says, somebody can't picture Fritz ever being on bad mode. Oh, there have been a couple times where I've been in a bad mode here on stream. Amal, how you doing there on YouTube? Great to see you. Good morning. Continue scrolling. Scotty beams everyone up. Bald Bearded Builder says, if we reach 3,000, can we have Larry on stream? Larry, from the janitorial team. No. But I do have another Scott that I could line up. Let's see if we get this moving before we start offering other milestones there. So, yeah, him. Ozzy says, how you doing there, Ozzy on YouTube? Ozzy Trady. Everyone, so where would Aspire fit into a backend like a cloud function or container? Haven't used it before. So, .NET Aspire is about to roll out V1. At this time, it's targeted at Azure Container Apps and connecting to other platform as a service features. Azure Functions, App Service, and virtual machines, VMs, are not part of this release. It's a V1. Getting it running with one group of services, that's great. So, but packaging and shipping containers, you can absolutely do that and get them coordinated and do a little service discovery so that they can talk to each other. Think of this is only one pillar of what Aspire does. Think of it as a better Docker Compose written in C#, so you get all of the IntelliSense help in your editor, and a compiler helping you out to verify it. And you get a cool dashboard and testing capability running locally and consistently with a single point of entry across Windows, Mac, and Linux. We're going to see more of that as we continue building here today. How you doing there, Warm Peas? Right, classic ASP. They did Noctum Sempra. They had duplicated code everywhere. Rolling Melons. Hello, you're a senior automation test engineer. You feel like you want to change careers. What are your thoughts? What's leading you to feel like you want to change careers? What do you have in mind? When folks talk about, I want to get into development, I want to get into tech, what do you have in mind? What are you interested in? What moves you? What moves your spirit? What makes you happy? For some folks, you know what, being creative and solving puzzles and playing board games is stuff that they like. Have you thought about looking at game development? Like, it's easy to get involved with game development. The thing with the tech industry is you don't have to ask permission to check out and try something different. You can take some time on your own. The tools are freely available for somebody who wants to learn. You can download and check something out. So what are you thinking about there, Rolling Melons? Let's talk a little bit about that. Because this is a common question that folks have. And the type of 5-10 minute mentoring career advice discussion can go a lot of different ways. That's a good way to describe it, Mario. Yeah, PHP code was like that back then. Oh, I had a bunch like that. Oh, I had a bunch of things like that as well. Yes. So, you're not wrong. So, it was the Wild West back then for web apps. Totally. With Aspire and Blazor, you can hear someone crying in PHP headquarters. Yeah. Just wait until Azure doxes Jeff. That happens. Not even Ajax existed at that time. Oh, no. Ajax existed. Oh, yeah. We had to do it by hand. Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We absolutely did. I wrote a number of websites that shipped XML to the browser and with JavaScript filled in various parts of the user interface. Kiss my pixels. Hello. Happy Friday afternoon to you. Tony says, this is my side job during school, and yeah, it's a big mess. Lots of copy paste. Ugh. Try to figure out where you can reuse things. Figure out where things can be abstracted out, pulled into classes, components, objects that you can reuse. That would be the first thing I would take a look at, is find the duplication. Amal is creating Docker images based on .NET SDK's Alpine image, and it has some issues while scanning using Prisma Cloud. How to fix and make it lock so that it won't give any errors. I'm not familiar with Prisma Cloud. What errors is it giving you? If it works locally, if it's something that we can demonstrate and use on other platforms, then I'd say the problem is Prisma, not you. So, let me see here. All right. Let's see. PHP with a mile-long stick. How you doing, Boom Boom? Random day off work, says Simon. Hanging out with you, fine folks. Thank you so much. Let me head over. Let's bring back up the resource group over here, and I'll show you. I did get things deployed. I need to actually back off. I need to stop in about an hour. Set a timer for 55 minutes. All right, there we go. All right, let's see here. Yeah, let me head over to the code and let's get into this. Let's talk about what happened and let's see what we can do to get this thing deployed. So here's the deploy steps we're going to be going through. And you see I put an X on the top one there. I verified that it does work. Container vulnerabilities using either Trivy or Prisma Cloud. You shouldn't be seeing container vulnerabilities. They consistently update those. Post a message on Twitter and tag the @.net account. Somebody will follow up with you on that. I can guarantee it. So this is the RG Aspirify v3 resource group on Azure that I deployed yesterday, and it's got a bunch of features down here on it, and in particular, I have the website. Now I've got two of them open. Whatever. So here's the URL for it. I clicked through and opened it, and it loads. It loads. I don't know why. I'm not going to pretend to know why, but it does. Okay. So I've got the data moved over. It's in the correct storage location. The next thing on my deployment task list here is to update the thumbnail service to use Azure storage properly. I think I already have that. So the whole goal here is we're introducing a thumbnail service. that for articles submitted to aspirify.net, it will generate thumbnails, save them locally, and use those instead of fetching them from third-party website where we might see a little bit of slowness in interacting with them. So, taking a look in here, so for my thumbnail service, I don't think I actually need to update anything, so I'm just going to mark that with a big X, because it looks like I've already got something addressed there. The next step down, we need to add the service principal that knows how to deploy this to the new Aspirify resource group. Use the page additional JavaScript to run. What? So let me head back over here. I'm going to go back to the resource group. I'm going to go into access control, and I'm going to grant access to, yeah, come on, role assignments. I'm going to add a role assignment to the Aspirify.net service principal as a privileged owner so that it can deploy and manage and roll out features. So let me select a member over here, and it pops up over here. And I already have a service principal out here called Aspirify. Fischkopf! It's Fischkopf. Say it. It's a German, right? It's a German name. 500 bits. Thank you so much. And I'll make a donation to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Go ahead, take a look at the hat. It knows this one.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
It's my Twitch black and purple hat. So, there's my service principal. I'm going to add that. There we go. Next. And I'm going to allow the user to assign and create roles. Highly privileged. That's fine. Yep, looks good. I'd like to assign, please. Why do I have a red over here? No member selected. No, I didn't you see? I selected Aspirify. Right there. Right there. Selected. There it is. Next. Yes. Review and assign. Do it. So this allows the service principal that runs inside of my GitHub Actions to deploy the service. So that looks good at this point. I need to reconfigure the search indexer. Okay. This one shouldn't be too bad. So let me head over to my search index. I'm just going to go... Yeah, it's right here already. There it is. But it's pointing now at the wrong storage. It's pointing at the storage from the other resource group. I need to have it point to this storage. Storage alpha... I forget what P is. I forget what P is in the radio alphabet. What the heck is the... Yeah, the NATO phonetic alphabet. Papa. Oh, of course it's Papa. I knew it. Yeah, I remember that. Did GitHub Actions... no, the GitHub Action did not start working. So I need to reconfigure the search end indexer to go off of storage Alpha Papa 3 Bravo Foxtrot. So here's my indexer. Can I just go into settings and change... Oh, I need to add... Okay, hang on. Back up. Back up, back up. Search service, there it is. I use the same search service because it's free to create 3 indexes, so I don't have that much content. It's just 3 indexes. So let me see. Data sources. We're going to change the... Can I just change the data source? Can I just change the data source and it works? Can I do this? Well, that's not gonna work. So I have to just paste in the other connection string. Managed connection strings can only be generated for data sources within this subscription. Okay. I'm going to jump back over here to chat so that I don't change things here. So much simpler than self-hosting in VMs. Right? Right? No, stop it. Access keys. Here we go. No. Try that again. Oh no. Don't do this to me. Okay. The user interface was just taking a really long time to respond. So here, save. Oh, I want to track deletions. No, shoot. Yeah, I'll leave that the way it is, I guess. All right. So if I go back to my indexer, can I go back to the index? Can I dump the index and rebuild it? I'm going to go to the indexer and I'm going to rerun the indexer. Yes. Because it's the exact same structure. Here it is. The indexer is running. Let me catch up on chat while this is running. Oh, there. No new docs, no errors or warnings. Fantastic. Fischkopf comes from the north of Germany. Yeah. It's simpler if you stick with the UI. It's much harder with the ARM templates. Totally agree, Phil. Totally agree. But those are available to you when you want to. The ARM templates are available to you when you want to try to simplify things. Not simplify. When you want to make things repeatable, to be able to take a template of something that's already built and reuse it like a cookie cutter. You love the fluent design for Blazor, says Mario. Just a simple app looks like Azure or the Microsoft 365. Yep. Nalian doesn't touch the ARM templates with the 10-foot pole. Stick with Bicep, Terraform, and the CDK. I don't blame you on that. Don't blame you at all on that. All right. So I've got my search indexer. I reconfigured properly. I want to test the GitHub deployment next. I'm going to remove some of these items from the top. Move them further down so that we've got things up at the top and it kind of scrolls through the little checklist that I have here. So test the GitHub deployment. So what I'm going to do for that, I think. Let's make sure I have everything committed over here. Not dit. Not get. It's like I haven't written code before. Oh, my deploy steps. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to head back over here and let's create a pull request to merge in my deploy code. Where'd it go? Wait, hang on. Let's look at the GitHub action and make sure that I'm doing this right. GitHub action, AZD deploy. Here we go. Oh, you have a extension to update? Really? Sure. Hey, look, Copilot chat. Wow, look at that. I'm trying to write code here. Go away. So, client ID, tenant ID, subscription ID. None of those should have changed. Environment name. That changed. That changed. So, my environment name... what? I believe is Aspirify V... Yeah, there it is. Aspirify V3. Right, like that. Okay. Get checkout, install AZD. I'm not going to lock the version because it works with the 190. Client ID, tenant ID, that's still all fine. So it's doing Azure login. That's the other type of Azure login. Restore.net, restore packages, generate the Aspire version, provision the architecture, deploy. Okay. Let's save that update so it points to the correct environment. Sure. Updated to use the V3 environment target. Push that up. Simon says, don't get me wrong, CI/CD and infra as code is hard, whichever platform it is. It's maintaining CI/CD, continuous integration or continuous deployment code is hard. We don't really have debuggers or tools that help us test things before we actually push things out live. It's hard. You just missed it when you used to work with Azure. A lot of sensible choices were made. It's secure by default, and then sensible initial settings. That's very cool, Simon. Yeah, I agree with you on a lot of that. Absolutely. How you doing there? Morrow is here. Welcome. Appreciate first-time chatter. How do I see the status of .NET to welcome juniors and trainees compared to Java? I think .NET is a lot easier for folks to use compared to Java because of the rich tooling ecosystem, because of the support and growth options that are available out there that Microsoft continues to offer and invest in. Oracle is not as involved in investing on it and instead has handed most of that over to open source advisory boards. So having a steering organization that's invested in the growth and success of .NET compared to Java is a valuable thing. Tools like Visual Studio Code, even JetBrains Rider, that have great support and capabilities in that for .NET and make it really productive for folks to use, I think makes .NET easier for folks to jump on and get on board with earlier. Additionally, since .NET is such a general purpose framework, since .NET is a general purpose technology that encompasses not just the editors, but the programming languages, the frameworks, the packages, the tooling at the command line and other places to help you be successful, you have this amazing and rich ecosystem that wants you to be productive and successful. You see that with other open source ecosystems. However, since these are a series of companies that are giving most of this stuff away for free, you've got folks who are paid support building and wanting you to be successful, and that's a great thing. Mario on YouTube says C# is for coders, Java is a good coffee. I don't know if I'd go that far. There's nothing wrong with Java. Microsoft makes a Java runtime that you can use. Oracle has shown that they aren't, as a culture, as a business direction, Oracle isn't interested in you succeeding. Oracle is interested in you paying them for using the technology. That's what Oracle has demonstrated their interest is. They're not interested in you succeeding. They're interested in getting paid. That's why Java was open source and available, so they moved it somewhere else. With respect, Noctem Semper, I'm going to deny that. We try to keep things safe for work here. I appreciate the sentiment. I'll read the message and shuffle that a little bit. No, we just want to make sure everybody feels like this is a safe space, so we try and limit a little bit of swearing in the channel. That's all. So, but Noctem Semper says each time Oracle buys something, their website becomes worse and worse. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's kind of crazy like that. Oracle just swallows companies. Yeah. Simon says, glad I had the opportunity to run my career alongside the growth of .NET, the chance to learn it a chunk at a time as features were being added was a privilege. I have no idea how folks starting today cope with the sheer volume of stuff to learn. Simon, I think the folks that learn .NET today, you need to focus on, just like we did back in the day, focus on what's the thing that you want to do. Do you want to build a website? Do you want to build a native Windows application? Do you want to build a mobile application? Do you want to build a game? Focus on that and learn the frameworks and tools around that. And then when you want to expand your knowledge base, go learn the next things over. But you're going to want to learn one of the .NET programming languages. C# is the most popular among them, but VB and F# are very capable. F# gets some very interesting experimental features added to it that are tested and interacted with and are really, really cool. Language, I would say language scholars like to tinker and experiment with F#, and the folks who make F# work with the folks who make Python. And they get to exchange ideas and things. And you see an interesting exchange of ideas in the language designers that work at Microsoft, right? Microsoft maintains 7 different programming languages. 7? Do I have that right? C#, Visual Basic, F#, Python, TypeScript, C++. I don't really maintain it, but they have folks that sit on the board. And Q#, the quantum programming language. So there's a lot of different things that these brilliant language designers do to advance their programming languages and learn from each other. Simon says, I think if starting over, it would be very intimidating. Yeah. Okay. Noctem Semper loves C#, and it does get better over time. Totally agree. Totally. All right, this looks like it committed properly. Let's go back up to GitHub and let's set up a pull request here and see if it works. So right here's the couple things that we pushed into it. I'm going to create that pull request. It's not actually going to deploy yet. Not until I merge. Let's see what happens. And we'll go over to the actions, and we're going to watch the action. This is like watching paint dry, kids. We're going to watch it build, and we're going to do continuous integration, debugging and working through here. Man, it's running fast. Okay. AZD19. We're logged into Azure, installing the .NET workloads, restoring packages, all looking good so far. Next up, identify the version of Aspire we're using. This is a little tool that just reports out we're using 8.0 Preview 7. Provision architecture, environment, Aspire 5 v3 does not exist. Feels bad, man. Okay. What did I do? Maybe a typo. Maybe I'm guessing I missed something in here. Client ID, tenant ID, subscription ID. The environment name. The environment name that was there was Aspirify Net. Aspirify v3. Aspirify v3. Right? That's the same. East US2, East US2. Let's take a look. Let's see. Why does it think it doesn't exist? What do we got here? Let's double check the subscription. Double check. This is Windows Azure MSDN. And there's a subscription ID that's passed in here. When it did the login, it should say which subscription it jumped into. No. Just says logged into Azure. It doesn't say which subscription. Okay. It's a magical Friday and the sun is out in Northern Ireland. That's cool, Nova Troop. Let's go back here. Container apps environment is right there. And it's tagged with v3. Let me take a look at my secrets in GitHub. Yeah, the subscription ID is in there as a. Oh, hang on. Back up just a second. It's the same subscription. Use the Azure CLI to identify. Maybe. Let me see here. Ugh. No. No, that's Dev Center, not. I'm going to close the search index. Directly across the coast in Germany. Let me see if I. No, it's not in the Azure YAML. With default environment, Aspirify v3. It's right there. Yeah. I don't want to create it. I've already got it. Yeah, it just magically resolved itself, Zalmis. I'm not sure why. Why is it reporting that the environment does not exist? It's the same subscription ID. This Windows Azure MSDN, it's the same one. Johan!
You have just resubscribed for 64 months.
How you doing there? 64 months, thank you so much. And I'll make another donation to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. No, it's not an Azure outage. No. If I take a look at the managed identity, access control on this, it does. It does. Has owner and contributor on the managed access, managed principal. So it's right there, AZD env name. Yep, it honestly, we didn't fix it. It just started working. Literally just started working. But it doesn't see, right? Like, no. Container apps environments? Right, and these have different things here. There's Aspirify Net, Aspirify V3, the new one, and you see they both are in the same subscription. So it is voodoo. Why am I using GitHub Deploy? Because I am. It works. It's right here with my source code. I don't need to go somewhere else to set it up. So is there a deployment environment here? No. 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 So what am I missing? That environment name is right there. No. Parameters? The environments are different. Let's take a look-see. Same subscription. No changes to provision. No. It's in here, but I'm not getting... Yeah, Aspirify Net. Right. It has the AZD ENV name. No, it's right there. Yeah, I'm trying to get this deployed. Now that it's working, like, we've got all the other things locked down and converted over, trying to get the GitHub deployment to work. Wait a sec. So this is where it's running now. It doesn't have the resource. I'm sorry, the environment name there. That's that was something that I thought too, Simon, and I was just looking at that. Right, and it's exactly the same. Right, so down here, when it does AZD provision, it picks up the environment name that's set up here and uses that. Yeah, the container ID is different. It's a different container. They're different places. Yeah, it does. V3. This is the one that I'm trying to deploy into. I'm deploying an update to the aspirify.net website. So, right, if I look for Aspirify.net, it only finds the resource group, and there's the environment name that it's using. It's on the tag. And no, that's bringing in. That's fine. It says it's looking for. Let's back up and look at that again. It says Aspira 5 v3 does not exist. It says East US 2. East US 2. And all my locations down here are East US 2. So I'm in the right location. So why can't it find it? No, there was no V2. Yeah, it's looking by tag. Yeah. And the resource group AspireFiNet is listed as an owner and a contributor. So it should see it. Oh, the battery for your ThinkPad. Oh, that's great. I hope it lasts a heck of a lot longer than your old battery there, NY. Naming prefix. Yep. None of that has changed. None of that has changed. Just to answer the paranoid in me, for the service principal, it does have full access. Is this something like it doesn't roll out the access immediately and cascade down through all the things? So you just have to rerun it again. Maybe I should have enabled the debug logging. Hang on. I said cancel. Rerun all. Debug logging. Here we go. Oh yeah. Installing the workloads. Yeah, look at all the extra logging we're going to get. .NET restore. Yup. Come on. Okay, there's my little task that gets the Aspire version. And it... Alright, hang on. Properly found it. Here's the provision architecture. Aspire 5 v3 does not exist. Let's just double check. Double check that action for a second. So we pushed everything up to deploy. We did the merge. So this is running against main branch. there. There's the entry point. Okay. And up here, default environment is Spyro 5v3. Did they... deploy with GitHub Actions? Client ID, tenant ID. So this is the deployment script. And I just modified it so it points to my stuff. And I specifically keyed in those values. Yeah. I don't see anything different here. When here's the resource group, there's the environment name. Run AZD pipeline config to configure the deployment pipeline to connect securely to Azure. Run AZD env list. Oh, hang on. Okay. AZD env set. AZD env set. What? Key value. Okay, what's the key? Creates a new AZD env get values. Okay. AZD env list. It's showing remote is false. Hey, Alou. Nah, I'm not playing Overwatch right now. Right? I don't have Overwatch turned on there. No. Well, that's interesting. Why doesn't it think it's... Because, I mean, I pushed from here. Refresh? I don't know. I did, so I did AZD up from here to create. Retrieving it. Populated environment from infrastructure deployment. Still not available. What's this? Well, that makes me feel good. You went and doxed my crap all over the place. Okay, so that's the deployment. That's not the environment. Make sure this thing still works. V3. Okay, website still works. It's Oh My Posh. Yeah. Yeah, it's PowerShell with Oh My Posh. You can find links how to do that in my GitHub repository. I have a .files GitHub repository that you can check out. There is a browser tool to stop that. It's since gone out of date, and quite frankly, legal has tried to block it. Streamer mode for ANSI GUI, for Azure GUI. I'm working on it. I'm actually working on that. I'm about to run out of time here, and I still can't get it to upload with GitHub. So why does it say that? AZD env list reports remote false. Yeah. Okay. AZD env list, AZD env select. That's it. Wait a sec. Yeah. Part of deployment, AZD makes a call to .NET publish. Once AZD has built the container images, okay. Initialize. Enter a new environment name. This is out of date. Yep, that's Azure YAML. To push container image to ACR, you need to have role assignments write access, enabling an admin user on the registry. Right. You just created the container registry. Why didn't you grant access to it? container registry, log analytics workspace, container apps environment. Yeah. It's possible for each team member to host an isolated cloud-hosted environment. AZDENV new. Hey, McNuts. Yeah, I can try pushing it back up again. Right? Yeah, secure collaboration. I think, right, the hiding of keys by default on the Azure portal is something that also prevents shoulder surfing. Do you use that term, shoulder surfing? Somebody walks by your office, looks over your shoulder. Hey, what you doing there, friend? And they see your password right there exposed on screen. Shoulder surfing, we called that. So. But I'm about to run out of time here. And not have this updated again. Yeah, watching out for hackers. Exactly. If someone can remember a good, I'm giving them a raise. They might have a phone in their hand. Hey, wait till you see this thing that I found here on TikTok. You got to check this out. Look at this. So, any no changes, deployed web. So it still works. Your workflow to provision and deploy to Azure completed. No file changes made. Subscription location. And it's not. So it deployed. It deployed the copy of the website. What happens if I don't have that there? What happens if it's not there? Now I need to be on the main branch. Fine. I'll comment it back out. No, it's not. Removing explicit env name. Just run with what's in the files. Yeah, there is remotes. Why is my permission reading my token is right? What are you talking about, Nova Troop? Yeah, the environment name was in sync. No. Environment does not exist. Aspira 5 v3. So it picked it up from the file, and it is the same thing. Reset environment name. Up at the top of the other files. That's for the ID token. Yeah, something GitHub isn't seeing properly here. But it's the same AZD provision. Right, if I execute it here, running in the same repository, I'm already past this. I'm already past this. No, it's not the secrets. The secrets are my tenant. Hang on. Let's double check that tenant ID just to make sure. Yeah, it's the same user ID. Sets up the OpenID Connect. So you're writing the ID token locally. You can read the contents of the login. And I am successfully logging in. Here. It's still passing that through, but with my Azure Client ID and Tenant ID, I am logged into Azure. I created the service principal. They want it created with the role contributor, with the scope of that subscription, that resource group. I gave it all of that access. List the environments found after login. Yeah, I can add that. Sure. Right before here. Let's add that. List environments. Added list AZD list environments command. Yep, let's debug and see what it sees. Restoring, identifying the Aspire version, which should come back quickly. Yep, there it is. No environments. That's weird. Yep, that's my cue to stop. Why doesn't it see the environment? No, that's my team's. I have a meeting to get to. Is it running in the wrong folder? No, it's at the root. I'm gonna need to park this and come back to it. So, yeah, I need to wrap up. Thank you so much for joining me. We're another step in the process here. Let me see who else is streaming over here on the big Twitch TV network. If you're watching on YouTube, there are, of course, more videos available for you out there. I'm going to get you connected to... You know what? Code It Live is live. Let me get you connected over there for the Human Show. Thank you so much for tuning in here on Twitch. I'm going to be digging and asking some questions and getting some help with this. I'll let you know how it goes on Discord. I'll be back on Monday with more development as we go through and build and add new features here. All right? Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next time. I wish you good health and good coding. Take care.